Thank you. Be with you guys today, and you'll see that on the table in front of you there are extra pages of the bullseye that I have in front of me, and this mic is really hot. You're dealing with it? Good. My thought is that the first time we go through, you're going to want some doodles, and the second time we go through, you're going to want to make some different kinds of notes. And if you want more after that, we'll make this available so that you can print as many as you want from your desk from the Chamber website. Now, I want to give you the topography, the lay of the land, based on the research that was started by Lynn Wayman and Ann Baber. What they found as they promoted their own work in networking was that people go through 6 levels of relationship with each other, and that there are specific things that happen at each level. The very outside level I'm going to call graze. Do you see that? It's kind of the frame around your bullseye. We just kind of graze like a bullet a bunch of people in our lives. I'll give you my own example. I got bumped to first class. It was a 3.5-hour flight. The guy sitting beside me didn't want to chat any more than I did. So we were working, and about every hour we'd stop and have 3 or 4 minutes worth of conversation and then go back to our work. You guys are familiar with what I'm talking about, right? By the way, 88% of the population self-selects as shy. How many of you are in that shy category? You consider yourself, you would not seek out a conversation, right? So the number that raised their hands right here was less than 10%. So what is important to understand is, for those of you who don't mind a conversation, you're likely to be collecting a lot of grazers. Not profitable. Here's why. The guy beside me shared a really good stock tip with me. When I got back to my desk, I did a little bit of research, ended up buying some stock. When everything was said and done, I made about $8,000. If he walked in this door right now, I would not recognize him. I do not know his name. I have no way to say thank you. He will never get a referral or any other business from me. We grazed, and that was it. You guys with me on this? A lot of times, networking books will say, if you give value in the very beginning of a relationship, they will reciprocate. But that is not true at the graze level. At the graze level, we just have a drive-by shooting, and it's over. Now, tell me in a networking situation what that looks like. At the Chamber, what does that look like? This is where you talk.
Hi, how are you?
Hi, how are you? And then walk right on by. Good. Give me another example of what that looks like at the Chamber.
Sitting at a table by himself.
Yes. Oh, this is good. What he said was sitting at a table by himself or sitting at a table with people you know, right? Equally useless. Good. What else? What else? Oh, so you're all sitting, okay, I don't know you, I have no idea. All right, we're never talking about people in this room. All right, give me another example of what drive-by, of what grazing looks like in the Chamber.
It could be just a missed opportunity, just walking right by someone who could dead in the eye and just not saying anything at all.
Yes, absolutely. Someone else is standing by themselves. We could have started a conversation. Yes, Amy.
And also, you could be passing them your business card, but that doesn't mean anything. If you're just saying hi, there's a business card, that doesn't mean anything.
Absolutely. When people just walk by and hand out their business card to you, in other words, I was at an event, and there were about 6 of us standing in a circle. A woman entered elbows first, and she said, "Excuse me, I didn't mean to interrupt." Like that changed the fact that she was interrupting, right? "Excuse me, I didn't mean to interrupt, but I knew you'd want one of these." And then she handed each of us her business card and left. What do you figure we did with those cards? Yeah. So there is absolutely no benefit giving someone at the graze level a business card. They haven't asked for it. There is absolutely no benefit that we get at the graze level. And what I see people do that keeps them at the graze level is come to one event, and then you don't see them again for 3, 4, 5 months, and then they come to one event and you don't see them again for 3, 4, 5 months. So the takeaway from the graze level is, to move from the graze level to the next graze level, you have to be consistent. What else do you have to do to move from the graze level to the next level?
Engage.
Yeah, you have to engage in some way. It can't just be, hello, how are you? There has to be some conversation, and it can't just be once, right? Now let's take a look at the second level. The second level is called grin. Let me show you what the second level looks like. If you and your family were having dinner at a restaurant on Friday night, and my family and I walked in, and I saw you across the way, and we were at the grin level, I might or might not recognize you. You might or might not recognize me. If we did recognize each other, we'd kind of do the little half smile. Do you know what I'm talking about? We wouldn't really know each other, right? You might wave and say, oh, she's that thing I heard, right? But we wouldn't really know each other at the grin level. But what is it that takes us from the graze level to the grin level? In other words, what is it that moves us in one more step in the bullseye? Some more conversation. I heard someone else say something.
Multiple meetings.
Multiple meetings. Okay, this is good. So there's actually research on this. How many meetings do you think it takes to move from graze to grin?
3.
3. Somebody else? 5. 2. Somebody else? 1. Somebody else? Okay, the number is, are you ready? 5 plus or minus 3. So those of you who had said 2 to 7 or 2 to 8, all good. So the answer is it depends, right? And it depends on a lot of things, but we know one thing for sure. It is never the second time we meet, ever, that we get to the grin level. Now let me describe for you what grin looks like in the chamber. In the chamber, grin looks like this. I walk in, I look across the room, I see you, I think to myself, oh my gosh, I know him, and then I turn my back and I think, what is his name? What is his name? I can't remember his name. And the guarantee is, there will never be any money made if my back is turned on you, right? So if people can't remember us because we're at that level, we lose a lot. What can you do to make the grin level easier for people? Use their name. What?
Grin back.
Grin back. Grin back and? Wear a name badge with your name really big. So if it's a hello, my name is name badge, make it your first name so that from across the room, they can see that name and they recognize the name and they can walk towards you hand out. Really good. What else can you do at that level to move people from the graze level into the grin level? Ask them a genuine question. Give me an example of a genuine question.
How's business?
How's business? When people, if I came up to you right now, just a minute, I don't even know your name. If I came up to you right now, your name is Teresa, and I said, so Teresa, how's business? Are you going to lie to me or tell me the truth?
I would absolutely tell you the truth. But
And
I'd keep you there talking.
you'd keep me there talking about your business?
No, our business networking and working together here.
So the challenge that we have when we ask people at the grin level a question that we haven't earned the right to ask is that they just smile and say something polite. Now there's actually a worse option, and that is that they frown and say something not polite, right? So here's one thing that we can do to make ourselves more accessible at the grin level, and that is always be prepared with at least 3 answers to how's business. But I have some tips for you. Do not use the word busy. What researchers are finding right now is that when we say, oh my gosh, I've been so busy, you wouldn't believe how busy I've been, it stops people referring to us because they wouldn't want to make us more busy. So instead of saying, oh my gosh, you wouldn't believe it, I've been so busy, have 3 different stories. You'll never use all 3 at the same time. Have 3 different stories so that as you're reaching out to shake someone's hand and they say, how's business, what's new, you've got a story ready about the new car in the showroom. And when someone else comes up to join you, you've got a story ready about the new client who just bought a car and had it shipped to Tahiti. And when the 3rd person comes up to greet you, you've got a story ready about someone else who just bought a fleet of cars. So do not come to this event, to an event in this building, without having 3 stories ready so that you can move people from graze to grin. Now I have an exercise for you. At your table, I'm going to give you 3 minutes for this, I have a timer. At your table, brainstorm with each other, come up with 3 more things that you can do not 3 more questions, 3 different things that you can do to move someone from the border, from the graze level, in one level to the grin level. In other words, they'd recognize you and feel comfortable speaking with you. Ready? Go. Pull up, here. Scoot in, I'm adding 1 to your table. Yeah.
Personalized engagement. What's the weather?
That's a good one. That's a really good one.
You know what? I recognize the name of the place. Tell me again what's
All right, that's time. So I want to hear from you. I want to hear a few things that your table has. I heard something good at this table.
So how's the weather? That wasn't it, was it? It was just a sincere, I recognize the name and the face, but tell me again, what do you do?
Right, right. Are you ever offended when someone says to you, I know we've met, but I can't remember your name? No. And yet we're embarrassed not to remember people's names, right? But no one's embarrassed when we say to them, I can't remember your name. I just went to Bridget. I mean, we had a whole conversation beforehand, and I went to her and said, tell me again what your name is. And you weren't offended, were you? No, it doesn't offend anyone when we say I don't remember your name, especially at the grin level. Somebody else, what'd you come up with at your table? Yes. Scoot in a little.
I'm Gil Williams. I'm Bridget's husband, and also state senate candidate. But what I learned, we used to go to China quite a bit. And one thing that we found that was really important is the way we exchange business cards. In the US, we'll grab a card and we'll immediately put it in our pocket. We may not even look at it. But when you go to China, what's different is you'll look at the card, you'll read the card, you'll give some acknowledgement to the person, give a bit of deference, and it's like, thank you, I will definitely be in touch. Mm-hmm. And it's a whole different process. Mm-hmm.
And it works here too, doesn't it? Absolutely. Good. Somebody else. What else moves you from graze to grin with someone? Yes, I'm coming to you. Thank you for meeting me halfway.
My name is Taylor. I shared maybe like a compliment. Everybody loves compliments. Like,
Yes.
That hat looks really great on you. I love it. Or her necklace. She has a really pretty necklace on.
Yeah.
So that's another good thing.
Yes, yes. In fact, one of the best ways to move someone forward in the bullseye is to tell you what you value about them. So what you value about them is a little different than a compliment about something about them physically. It's a value that they've given you. And that's a really wonderful way to move forward. But since we don't know people at the grin level, all we have for them is a compliment about something observable, right? So what is this teaching you as a networker?
Get the person to talk about themselves. They like
Okay, good. Something else?
Stay positive.
Yes, and wear something they could compliment. I think the stay positive is really important, because if the first thing out of our mouth is, oh, I'm so sorry, oh, you'll have to forgive me, and we get known for that, it's not a good thing.
Well, first of all, great hat.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I really like it. And actually, want to pass it over.
Oh, good.
Yeah, here's our topic.
Well, it kind of goes back to complimenting, but you know, Ziglar, don't do something frivolous. And, oh, that's
Right,
a great hat. I don't
right,
know anything about
right,
your hat.
right.
Be a good finder. Just be a period, a good finder.
Yes, yes.
They may not even have to compliment them, but just find something good to say in,
Yes.
in meaning.
Yes, yes. And I don't think these things pop up for us automatically. I think that we have to do exactly what we're doing right now, which is brainstorm with each other and say, what might I be looking for? What could I say? And what I believe is that we'll find an inventory of 10, 11, 12 things, and in any given situation with 70 people in the room, we might use each of those things 3 or 4 times. But if we haven't pre-thought of the way to move people from the graze level to the grin level, people stay at the grin level, and there is no money at the grin level. Right? Amy?
I was saying, to my table, I try to find something we can bond with. Like, I noticed he was a lieutenant colonel, and so I mentioned my military connection. And then when she brought up the fact that she did sign language, I mentioned a story that I knew a little, and I did a little sign language.
Right.
So something connection.
Cool, excellent. Now, the next level is called greet. And we do not get to the greet level without doing exactly what Amy said. In other words, if we have not found what we have in common, we never leave the grin level. So the most important skill for us to develop is the skill of very quickly finding out what we have in common with people. And when we can find out what we have in common, then we have a better chance of remembering their name. We have a more effective way to recognize them in the future. We have a better way to stay in touch. And all of those things are essential if we're going to move forward towards the money in the bullseye. I'm coming to you, Jim, because I want you to tell the story about the guy who you thought was in the Air Force.
Oh, okay.
And my name is Jim Othorpe. How many people here know Harold Loxton? Harold Loxton ran for PCC Mayor. I've known him for about 10 years. I knew he was a retired colonel. I thought he was a retired colonel in the Air Force. That's where it stood. We're at a golf course last Wednesday, I graduated from West Point, had my West Point hat on. He looks at me and goes, oh, you go to West Point? He says, yes, I did. He goes, what'd you do in the Army? I said, I was a field artillery officer. And he looks at me and goes, me too. I said, really? You're in the Army? I said, okay, being artillery. I said, well, what weapon system were you on? He said, well, 8-inch. 8-inch with the Kentucky and the Alabama National Guard. And I look and go, okay, do you know the 1st and 623rd, which is an 8-inch battalion in Kentucky? I go, yes, I do. I go, when I was a second lieutenant back in Fort Hood, Texas, 1977, they were our sister battalion, and we would go and train those people at their AT, or we actually went to Kentucky one time. I was with Harold Loxton, Fort Bragg, North Carolina, 1977, summer of 1977, teaching his battalion how to assemble the nuclear round, the 8-inch nuclear round. He was battalion executive officer, and that's where we first met. We put the picture together.
But you've known each other now for 10 years, and haven't done anything.
Yes.
Yeah. So the piece that's important to understand is there is no money at the grin level. There is no money at the grin level. And if we allow ourselves to stay at the grin level in other people's bullseye, we won't get any business from them, and we won't get any referrals from them. So it's our job to move them forward to the greet level. Now the greet level, people remember our name. This is the hallmark of how you know that you're at the greet level. If someone walks up to you and says, hey Brett, good to see you, we know that we're at the greet level. They may or may not know anything about our business. They very often are in an association with us, the Chamber, Church, Kiwanis. They may not know anything about our family. I've never met Brett's wife. I have no idea if he are you married? Okay, good. I have no idea if he has kids. I don't know anything else about him. And if I walked into a restaurant on Friday night and saw Brett and his family sitting there, I would walk up to him. I would say, "Hey Brett, good to see you. Keep your seat. Good to see you." And I'd walk on by with my family and we'd go sit somewhere else, right? I would greet him. I would not miss the opportunity to stop by his table and shake hands. But I would not introduce him to the people I was with, and he would not introduce me to the people at his table. It would just be kind of a greet and move on. It is unrealistic to think that we will ever make any money with people at the greet ring. We want there to be money at the greet ring. We hope there's going to be money at the greet ring, but there is not any money at the greet ring, because at the greet ring, people acknowledge knowing us. Here's what it means. Let's say that I am at the greet ring for, let's pick somebody I don't know. We don't know each other, do we? No? Okay, good. So this is moving us forward 3 just like this, right? Tell me your name.
Ryan.
Ryan, and what do you do?
Right now legals, but sales.
Okay, so sales what?
Advertising.
Okay, good. So let's say that someone says to me, Ryan and I are at the greet ring, and someone says to me, "Hey, I'm thinking of buying an ad from Ryan." If I'm at the greet ring with Ryan, I will acknowledge knowing her. I will say, "Oh, I know Ryan." Now if I said, "Oh, I know Ryan," to you, you would say, "Well, who do you think I should use?" Right? At the greet ring, we get anti-referrals. At the greet ring, people send interested buyers, people who know us, people who are thinking of doing business with us. The people at our greet level send them away to somewhere else. There is such a thing as too much networking. There absolutely is. And the too much networking is when we have a bunch of people at the greet ring and all the people who are interested in using us get the, "Oh, I know Ryan," in response, and we make no money. It is much more effective for us to move people at the greet ring forward to the generator ring than it is for us to add more people in the greet ring. Does this make sense to you? Why? Why is this making sense to you? Yes. Why else?
It's a natural flow of progression.
Yes. And if we don't make the waterfall flow, it's going to stop, right? Why else does this make sense?
Because it's happened.
Because you know that your competition is getting things from people who you've met and whose cards you have in your upper left-hand desk drawer. Now watch. We know who these people are because we have their cards and we kept them. We did not keep the card for Grazer or Grin. The card for Graze we used as a coaster. The card for Grin we threw away. We didn't care. We didn't know who that person was. But the card for Greet, we have those cards. We have them banded together with rubber bands based on what event was. And we have them in our upper left-hand desk drawer in the dark, making no money. And every single one of those cards is costing business. So the important thing to realize is it's our job to move people to level 4. Level 4 is generator. And if we don't, we cannot expect networking, happy, happy, joy, joy networking, to make us any money if we're not pulling people forward to the generator ring. So let me tell you what generator looks like on a Friday night at the restaurant. If we walk into a restaurant on Friday night, let's presume, what's your name?
Robert.
Robert. Let's presume that we're at the generator level, right? If we walk into a restaurant on a Friday night and we're at the generator level, I'm going to walk over immediately to Robert. I'm going to say, "Hey, Robert," he's going to stand up. Stand up. He's going to come over here. He's going to ask me a little question about something we talked about last time we saw each other. That's a clue, by the way. He remembers what we talked about last time we saw each other. We had this little conversation, right? Is he introducing me to the people at his table? Say no. No. Am I introducing him to the people that I'm with? No. But he's up out of his seat and we have something to talk about, which is very different than my kind of drive-by with Brent where I said, keep your seat, right? Thank you, you get chocolate for that. So the piece that is crucial at the generator level is we have something to talk about. If we don't have anything in common, can we have something to talk about? No. How can we get very quickly to what we have in common and something to talk about?
Ask them something about themselves.
Louder?
Ask them about themselves.
Ask them about themselves. Good. What else can we do very quickly to get to, what other behaviors are there besides talking that get us very quickly to level 4 where we will have something to talk about?
Attend the same functions.
Attend the same functions and do what?
Communicate.
Okay, communicate's a broad word. Give me something specific. What?
Or participate in it.
Give me a way to participate.
Like play golf together.
Play golf together is awesome. Play golf together is awesome. What else could you do at this event? Because we're not playing golf. What could you do at this event? Sit at their table. Invite them to sit at your table. Good. What else could you do? I'm giving you 1 minute. Come up with 4 things you could do to move people forward. Go. Your 1 minute starts now. Yes, that's a good one. That's a good one. That's a good one. I'm going to come back to that. That's a good one. It's too deeper though. All right, that's 60 seconds. The next level, the generator level, is where the money begins. The money begins at the generator level because if Robin and... Is your name Robin? Ryan. Well, that shows you where we are, right? That shows where we are. If Ryan and I are at the generator level and someone says to me, I'm thinking of doing business with Ryan. If I'm a generator for her, I will say, oh my gosh, Ryan is terrific. Ryan is fantastic. Ryan is exactly who you want. In fact, here's her number. Use my name. Oh, better. I have to call her myself this afternoon. I'll have her call you. I don't have to call her myself this afternoon. I'm adding that task to my task list because I realize that if she reaches out to this person who's interested, she'll get a check faster than if she waits for them to put it on their task list to call her. Now, what is it that allows me to endorse Ryan and makes me willing to take action on her behalf? These are 2 separate things, endorse and take action. Just saying, Ryan's great, Ryan's wonderful, isn't the same as saying, Ryan's terrific, here's her number, or Ryan's terrific, in fact, I have to call her myself this afternoon, I'll have her call you. What is it that makes me willing to do that? Yes?
You've used their service and you know they do it well.
That can sometimes be true, not always. What Lynn and Ann found in their research was that we have sometimes done business one way, we have almost never done business both ways. And so thinking that people have to use us before they can endorse us with action is not correct. Let that go. And thinking that we have to use everyone before they will have the reciprocity requirement for us is also not correct. Let that go. But it is sometimes true. Yes, speak very loudly.
Trust and respect.
So these are 2 different things, and let's treat them separately because they're both essential. I can see that you agree this. I'm going to bring you a microphone. Now, let's take the first one. The first thing he said was trust. How do you know that you can trust someone? How do you know that you can trust someone?
Reputation.
Pardon me?
Reputation.
Reputation? Okay.
They do what they say.
Oh, okay, this is a good one.
They do what they say they're gonna.
Yeah, so what is it that you say you're gonna do that you do?
Show up, make the phone call.
Okay, so what Brian said was, he calls me back, right? This is a really important thing for us to be aware of if we want to get to the generator ring in other people's bullseye. We have to say we're going to do something and then do it so that they can trust us. If we do not have the habit of saying, I'll give you a call tomorrow, and then doing it, how are they going to learn that we can trust us? I don't think reputation is enough. I do not. I think that trust comes from us proactively taking a business card and saying, I'll hook you up with, or I'll send you, or I'll call you tomorrow, and then doing it. And even if that phone call goes to voicemail, voicemail all has a timestamp on it. If I said, I'll give you a call tomorrow at 10 o'clock, and you get a voicemail from me at 10 o'clock, you'll think, huh, that Wendy Kinney. She does what she said she would, right? It's our responsibility if we want to get to the generator level in other people's bullseye. It's our responsibility to do things that make us trustworthy to them. Do you have another one that matters to you? Another one about trust? Do you have something that people do that make you trust them?
I can't talk very well.
That's why I brought you a microphone.
I went to your website. I researched what you do, and I believe that product will work.
Why? What is it that made you believe it? Because, I mean, it's just a website. It could be total spam, right?
Belief system?
The belief, well, I think he's right, the belief system. First of all, when I go and research someone's website, and then I research them, then I typically know someone that knows them.
Okay.
And I will pick up the phone and call them and ask them, what about this company and what about this person?
So this is an important thing that's being researched by Gallup right now, and one of the authors who's writing information on this is Tim Roth. His book is Vital Friendships. I recommend it unreservedly. It's really short. And another one that is phenomenal on this information is, I've just forgotten, I'll bring it to you when I get back. And so the piece that's important is we have to do things that people can find out about us, right? If they can't find out about us, if they can't establish trust, we're never going to get to the generator list on their bullseye. Now, this website thing is interesting because I was talking to a group of lawyers, and one of the lawyers came up to me afterwards and told me a story of how she had a prospect. She does immigration law, had a prospect call her, needed her services. She said, you know, send me this check for $1,000, I'll get started. She got started for the client, and when she went to deposit the check, it had been canceled. So the client was coming to town to go to immigration. She met them, and she said, your check was canceled. And the woman said to her, because when I looked you up online, you didn't have a website, and I didn't think you were for real.
Right.
I think we've way past the time when websites are optional. I think we've passed the time when content on the website is optional, right? If we want to get to the generator level in other people's bullseye, we have some responsibilities for content and for letting ourselves be known and known about. Now, the other book that I was going to tell you about is Tribal Leadership by Dave Logan. What both Logan and Roth have found is that there's power in the number 3. Tell me your name, Jerry? What Jerry just said was, he looks for someone else he can ask about me. What they have both found independently is when people are in groups of 3, then their network expands, they know someone in common, there's someone they can ask. And so my assignment for you before we leave today is going to be to pick 2 people you don't know here and get to know them really well so that when other people you don't know ask them about you, they won't tap their foot and say, oh yeah, I think she's a member of the chamber, right? Now, there is money at the generator level and not before. And what this means is it is our job to move ourselves to the generator level on other people's bullseye. I want to introduce a concept to you right now. There's 2 bullseyes in every relationship. There's where you are on my bullseye, and there's where I am on your bullseye. And they may not be the same. And one of the reasons they may not be the same is the second word that Jerry gave me, which is respect. Because even if he trusts me, If he doesn't think I respect him, it doesn't matter if he respects me. If he doesn't think I respect him, I'm sitting at the greet level for the rest of my life. So the question is, how do you receive respect? How do you know that someone else respects you?
By showing respect yourself.
Okay, but tell me a behavior. Ready? This is something to write down. There are 5 behaviors. So when I say, we don't know each other, so now we're at the graze level. We might stay there after this. Ready? When I say by showing respect yourself, there's no behavior there. So I'm going to give you the 5 behaviors. Write these down. They are our facial expression, our body language, the words we use, our tone of voice, and our work product. You can trade work product for results. In other words, I'll call you tomorrow at 10 and then I do, right? So those are our facial expression, our body language, the words we use, our work product. I'm missing one. Who wrote as fast? Tone of voice. Tone of voice. So give me a behavior, one of those behaviors that lets you know that that I respect you. Yes? Eye contact is a really good one. If people are looking at their phone when they're talking to me, it will keep them in the greet level, right? That is a really big one. Now, I'll tell you how long this has been known. The first time I read research on this, it was about pagers. In the car industry, one of the things that car salespeople know, I know I'm not telling you guys anything and you're going to shoot me for telling everybody else. One of the things that car salespeople know is that they cannot allow rapport. Rapport is a condition of me liking you at the same time you like me. They cannot allow rapport to be broken at the end of the sale when I'm getting ready to write a check, right? When I'm getting ready to sign a contract, they have to stay in rapport. The easiest way to break rapport, to look at a watch or to look at a pager. This is how old this research is. And now we have a lot more than pagers. We have buzzing phones. We have all kinds of things that can distract us. If we break rapport, that is a sign of disrespect to the other person. If we don't respect them, we will stay forever in their greet level. There is no money at the greet level. Ellie.
So Wendy, how do you check what time it is if your appointments have to be at a certain time and you have another appointment,
right,
an hour and a half down the line? How do you check the time?
One of the researchers that I really appreciate is Eric Barker. And he came out with something 2 weeks ago that was amazing. He said that just the fact of having your cell phone on the table breaks rapport. Just having it on the table breaks rapport. And so he did not give what to do instead, but I'll tell you what I do. As we sit down, I say, what's your time limit? And if you say, I've got it 2 o'clock, I'll say, great, I've got to be out of here at 1:30. I'm going to set my alarm for 1:20, and then I put it away. I'm not going to leave it on the table based on what I've just learned about Barker, or from Barker, but I put it away, but that alarm is going to ring, and it's going to give me a 10-minute fudge factor. I'm not going to have the alarm ring when I need to leave. I'm going to have the alarm ring in enough time for us to close up our appointment. Is this answering your question, or are you thinking of a different situation?
No, I'm just thinking about how to do that.
How to do it? Yeah.
And doing it that way does not still give them that same, oh, the alarm went off and...
No, because we had the conversation about it first.
Okay, so they're...
Because we had the conversation about it first.
I already acknowledged
Right.
that I was going to do that and put it away.
And odds are you don't have the rest of the afternoon to chat either. You know, you want me to be respectful of time. Time is a huge respect tool. Yeah. What's another respect tool?
Schedule yourself appropriately.
Yes. So Ray is saying schedule yourself appropriately, but sometimes we do have a day that's full. I often have a day that's full, and that means that I have to communicate that going in. I might even communicate that when I make the appointment. I might even say, this will be a short appointment for me. I'm going to have to leave in 45 minutes. Yeah. But take responsibility for both the communication and for being the one who sets the alarm and puts the phone away so that it's not sitting in front of us. Yes?
How does this affect millennials?
How does it affect millennials? It is costing them income in the biggest possible ways. If you have kids this age or employees this age, teach them to put it away. It is costing them big. And it's costing them in relationships. Yeah. Amy?
I was just going to make a point that I had a meeting with someone and I was trying to do business with her, and then like, she just said, I gotta go. And I was like, I think it's so helpful when you say, I have this amount of time with you, and.
Right. Right. And so one of the respect things, if that happens to me more than once, what I'm going to do is take responsibility for the fact that I'm not on other people's time wave. And so I'm going to start taking responsibility for having the time conversation when we first sit down. That's a wonderful way to show respect. Now, we're closing up here in about 10 minutes, and I have assignments for you. I have things to do before next month. And I've got 2 more rings to go to. The next ring is the gate opener ring. Gate openers do not wait for someone to ask us about them. Gate openers insert us in a conversation. So if I am Ryan's gate opener, and I'm speaking with my client, and I can see that my client needs Ryan's product, I don't wait for my client to express a need. The way I do at the generator level. At the generator level, I wait for an expressed need. At the gate opener level, I don't wait for a need. I insert Ryan in the conversation. I say to my client, you need to meet Ryan. Ryan is exactly who you need. Here's her number. In fact, I'm going to set up an appointment for her next Thursday morning, 10 o'clock. I'm going to bring her to your office. Is that good for you? What causes me to be willing to do all that for Ryan? Brett.
Some sort of allegiance or loyalty or commitment to each other.
Huge allegiance and loyalty and commitment to each other. I don't know your name.
Eddie.
Eddie.
They need to personally see a benefit in the service.
Yes, this is really important. I get, not my client, not our shared client, I personally get some benefit if my client uses Ryan. If I don't personally get this benefit, I'm not going to add that to my task list. Good. 10 extra points and chocolate for you. What else? What else does it take to be at the gate opener level? Let me tell you about gate openers on a Friday night. If Scott and I are gate openers and I walk into a restaurant and he and his family are sitting there and I walk in with my family, I'm going to walk over to his table. He's going to say hello. We're going to introduce our families to each other, and then we're going to pull up 2 tables and we're all going to sit there and eat dinner together. That's the gate opener level. Now, you said something a few minutes ago that would move someone forward in the bullseye, and what did you say?
Take them on vacation.
Go on vacation together. Fabulous indicator of gate opener level. When people have been on vacation together, they're gate openers for each other. Mm-hmm. What? Say it again?
They might not like each other.
I'm optimistic. I have positive intent. I have positive intent. What else does it take to be willing to be someone's gate opener?
Trust.
Yes, even more, right? Even more trust. What else does it take to be willing to take the time? It takes time to be a gate opener. It takes time to insert. This is not for us. We don't get any benefit from this. What else does it take to be willing to insert someone into a conversation we're having with a client?
You've had to use their product.
Once again, that is not an essential. That is not essential. We think if I could just get them to try me, I'll give them a coupon. I'll give them 50% off the first service. I'll give them a free month. I'll give them whatever, and then they'll refer to me. The data says that this is not true. Really not true. Gate openers are friends. Yes, they are friends. They see each other regularly. They see each other regularly. I've got a good example in my life, a guy named Bob Darden, who's a CPA, and a guy named Richard Berg, who's an advertising executive, and they talk every day, while Richard's driving to the post office to do the mail. Those 2 guys are on the phone. Every day. That's a gate opener relationship. They see each other regularly, right? So I want you to think now about the very center of the bullseye, because I'm going to give you some metrics for each level, but the center of the bullseye is the smallest level, and it's the place where the fewest people are. In our lives, we may have none, at any given time, 1 or 2, in our whole lives, perhaps as many as 5 guardians. Guardians are people who are willing to tell us the hard things. Guardians are people who are willing to risk the relationship to tell us that we're doing something that's ineffective. I placed a phone call yesterday and the voicemail said, "Hi, I'm going to be out of the office all week for Thanksgiving. I'll return on Monday." In 6 months, no one's told this guy that Thanksgiving is over, right? When we say, "Shouldn't someone have told me?" what we're saying is, I want someone to treat me at the guardian level when we haven't developed a guardian relationship, right? A guardian relationship is tight. A guardian relationship where I'm willing to say, "Stop that, it's costing you," is not something I'll do lightly. And so when we have someone at the guardian level, they are to be thanked and treated with respect. If someone cares enough about you to say to you, "Stop this, this is hurting you." Let's take time. Let's take someone who's chronically late. That's going to hurt them from a respect factor, right? And so if I care enough to say, "Be on time," the correct response is, "Thank you." Because if I don't get a thank you, I'm never going to do guardian communication again, right? So I have some assignments for you leading up to next month's meeting. Assignment number 1. Do you see what I've done? I've put things on this board. Brian, do you all know Brian? Brian, just stand up so they know who you are. And I asked Brian to put his business cards on the table. Brian has made this board in 2 sizes for me. This is a 4-foot size, and this size over here is 2 feet square. The 2-foot size board is $40. If I were you, I would order one of those from Brian, and I would take all the business cards in my upper left-hand desk drawer, and I would put those business cards on here exactly where they fit based on what you now know about the bullseye. What this would do would be to give you a very strategic plan for knowing what you have to do next with every single person who's past the grin level in your life. Because just going out and adding more people at the grin and greet level isn't going to make any money. The only thing that's going to make money is pulling people forward into the generator and guardian and gate opener levels. And so the first thing to do is to divide the business cards in your upper left-hand desk drawer into those categories. And at next month's meeting, we'll talk about exactly what to do with them. But what you might do right now is divide them into piles so that you know who's who. The second assignment that I have for you is to take 3 people who are now at the greet level. In other words, you know them. You know them well. You would say hi to them on Friday night at a restaurant. Take 3 people who are now at the greet level, and before next month's meeting, do one thing with each of them that will move them one step closer to generator. Generator is the level where they will endorse you with action, where they will say, "Yes, I know exactly who you need to talk to. You need to talk to Bob. Here's his card. I'll have him call you." Assignment number 3. Take 3 people who are now at the generator level. In other words, they have referred business to you when asked. Take 3 people who are now at the generator level, and before next month's meeting, do one thing with each of them to move them closer to the gate opener level. In other words, the level where they don't wait to be asked to endorse you. They insert you into a conversation they're having with their clients. One more thing. If you now have or have ever had a guardian, someone who was willing to tell you the hard things, before close of business today, pick up the phone and tell them thank you. Tell them thank you for the trust and respect and appreciation they had for you to be willing to say that hard thing and that you value them. Now, many of you brought a 3-ring binder to put today's paperwork into. And next month, what you're going to have is additional pages in here, because what we're going to start doing next month is developing the literal ways to move people through each section. It takes, you'll remember, 5 plus or minus 3 contacts to move someone from one ring to another. And people have preferences. And so what that means is we need an inventory of things we can do to automatically move people through when we first meet them, or else they'll stay at the greet and grin level forever, and we'll stay making no money. Good? So what questions do you have about today's assignment, this month's assignment, and what to bring next month? Excellent. My final question for you. At your table, I'm giving you 1 minute. I want you to share at your table the single best thing you got from today's thoughts. Not what I said. Everybody heard what I said. What you thought that we didn't get to talk about. Share your single best thought at your table. 1 minute for the whole table. That's about 10 seconds each. Go. Good.
Collecting my things.
Yeah.
You do, and therefore you think you was nice meeting you. So it's really that
It is not a surprise to you that the cliche, build a better mousetrap and they'll beat a path to your door, is not true. Because you probably have built a better mousetrap and had a hard time attracting clients. In fact, it is not true that the best provider always gets the clients. You can prove this. You have people in your industry who should not be allowed to practice and have a bigger business than you do. And conversely, you can name someone to whose experience and expertise you aspire, and they can't build a business strong enough to send their kids to college and take their family on vacation 3 times a year. So it is not how good we are at what we do that makes people beat a path to our door. It's how good we are at moving them from graze through grin and greet to the money level of generator that determines whether or not we have a successful business. My definition of success for myself is when you take today's information, ponder, cogitate, mull, and use it to put bank deposits in your own bank account. I can hardly wait to hear your success stories. My name is Wendy Kinney. Ready, set, go make money.